she believes she has it. She also said that she is self-diagnosed.
You should only really do that while you are waiting for a diagnosis, or if it's completely impossible for you to get a diagnosis. If you are self-diagnosing, it is absolutely integrally important, and I cannot stress how important it is that you fully understand all the details behind this disorder, the symptoms, how it works.
Hey there. As you may know, on Sunday I posted a video where I kind of addressed my takeaway from the sort of online feud that happened between Trisha Paytas and Anthony Padilla. Over the topic of dissociative identity disorder, Trisha's claims that she has the disorder and is self-diagnosed, and Anthony Padilla's response to those claims on primarily his Instagram stories. And I apologize if I didn't make this very clear, but there were really two main takeaways that I wanted to come out of that video. And one being that I feel that mental health advocates should do a better job than Anthony did in responding to situations like this. It is not okay to discredit somebody's mental health journey simply because you don't like that person. So specifically, I'm talking about an Instagram story in which Anthony and his girlfriend are rolling their eyes in response to Trisha, a joke where Anthony included a little image that said "move to trash." I thought that he should have done better than that. That is totally understandable in many situations, but when it comes to mental health, that is not okay. I don't necessarily think he should have been easy on Trish. I don't think he needed to agree with Trish. I think that we in the mental health community, particularly the advocates for mental health, should approach the mental health of all people as best as they can, the way a mental health professional would. This is a super quick reminder to like and subscribe if that's something you want to do. If that's not something you want to do, I'm sorry for the interruption. I'll shut up and start talking now. And I stand by my statement that Anthony did not do that. I also wanted to make it very clear that Trisha needs to take all of this off of YouTube at this point. She has continually hurt and offended large groups of people, and in conjunction is very publicly going through some apparently serious mental health struggles and is refusing to get the help that she has access to. I think most of us agree that she needs a diagnosis and help for whatever it is that she's dealing with. Trish needs to do better in that it is her responsibility to herself, to her audience, and really to anybody she comes into contact with to get that diagnosis. I think a lot of us are pretty pissed off that it's so difficult for so many people in our country to get access to good health care. And here Trisha is, somebody with plenty of wealth and access who should be getting the care that she needs and is simply refusing to, as she's told us many times that she is not interested in getting a formal diagnosis. And when I made that video, I really was only responding to what I saw in sort of the aftermath. So I saw the clips from Instagram stories on Anthony Padilla's side. I saw some very angry rants on Trisha's side, but I hadn't watched Anthony Padilla's show or special, whatever you want to call it, on dissociative identity disorder, nor had I seen DissociaDID's reaction to Trisha's original video on DID. I still maintain my points. I still maintain that those of us in the mental health community should do better and make sure not to mock the mental health of people experiencing struggles, whether we like them or not, whether we believe them or not, whether we think they should have a platform or not. All of this can be handled better, though how to navigate that is not easy. There is not one prescription. It is a careful balance. So quite frankly, while everybody should support proper mental health for everyone, to stand as an advocate for it is a pretty big job, and it is something that one should handle with care. That said, I saw the video Trisha posted last night titled "My Alter Switch Caught on Camera, Live Footage." And all I can say is that I am disgusted. I will not speak to whether I think this is real or fake, as to whether I think Trish does or does not have this disorder or any other disorder. I will just say that this video seemed, let's say at the very least, exploitative.
But very rarely do I catch the switch on camera. Tyson's really sensitive, and I don't even give a f if people call me crazy. Like, I'm crazy, you're crazy too. Like, get over it. Like, it's just, girl, bye. And no one's gonna tell me different. Hungry and thirsty.
The behaviors she displayed were very inconsistent with what DissociaDID and other people within the DID community have taught us about this disorder. The information Trisha's put out is very inconsistent with the information that has been provided to us about this disorder. Again, I'm not saying whether or not I think she has this. It's really not my place, and as DissociaDID has said, not my business. What really did just make this all feel all the more disgusting for me is when I took a look at how many mid-rolls Trisha placed in an 11-minute video. So I can't speak to whatever mental health struggles she's experiencing, but we can clearly see when somebody is not just exploiting a controversy for money and views. This is YouTube. For the most part, we all do this to some extent or another. The point is whether or not we maintain the message that we want to put across while we gain views and sometimes money. There's nothing wrong with those things. The point is that we maintain a positive message. And for Trish to be under so much fire right now, for so many people to have brought to light what exactly she did do wrong in spreading misinformation, particularly in using hurtful language, to see a short video with so many mid-rolls really just screams not just exploitation, but a lack of regard for the feelings of other people and what they are trying to teach you. It's kind of just a big fuck you to anybody trying to take a healthy and positive stance on this matter, including myself. I came here to talk about a certain kind of sensitivity and consideration we should offer to all people, and the person who happened to be the subject of that video, I felt betrayed by. And after watching her video, I will say the good thing that came out of this is that it prompted me to watch not only DissociaDID's reaction to Trisha's original video, but also to watch Anthony Padilla's special where he interviewed those that experience this disorder. And I'm so happy I learned more about this topic, and I'm actually so excited to learn even more. I used to watch videos where those with DID talked about their experiences, and I've watched videos where alters did switch on camera, but none of the videos that I watched at that time really kind of explained and broke down what is happening and how this comes to be. So yeah, so last night I really got to learn a ton about the brain and the experiences of these people, which was super enlightening and interesting to me. I appreciate what Anthony Padilla is trying to do with his show, what he's trying to do for the mental health community, but I don't necessarily agree with how he goes about it all the time. When I watched his special, I did feel that he pandered a bit. It felt at times that he was speaking to his guests in a way that was patronizing, like there was almost some condescension, as if he was speaking to his guests like they were children, and not just to the child altar that came forward when DissociaDID, but they were giving their part of the interview.
One of my altar's name is Freedom.
Freedom!
Yes.
Does that altar represent freedom in any way?
I mean, her first name was Pain, and then she switched it to Freedom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A very literal
Yes,
naming
so
system.
it was for her. So
Yes.
some of my protector's name is Brad.
Oh, okay.
Like just a very, yeah, no.
Name not
like,
protector, but name is Brad.
What I think turned me off the most was just kind of how, while this special did bring to light of a lot of important information, I did feel that the show sensationalized the topic a bit. There was some like creepy music and undertones.
Does DID access hidden capabilities and skills within the brain, allowing people to harness brain power in a way others simply aren't capable of?
But I loved his guests. I love the information they brought forward. I did love the questions Anthony asked the guest, and I did walk away from that video feeling like I understood a lot more than I ever had about this disorder. As for DissociaDID's reaction video to Trisha's original video on DID, there's nothing else I can say is that this video was near perfection. She taught us so much about the brain, neurology, this disorder, and how trauma affects us, and really gives us a deep dive into the inner workings of how we believe this disorder works, why it is, how it protects the body that it lives in, and just so much more about not just the brain, not just DID, but really how we should treat one another. Whether they have this disorder, another, none at all. I found Nin to be very composed, very intelligent, very well-spoken, and very fair. So I am subscribed to her now. I'm really looking forward to seeing what else she puts out, especially after all this has gone on. I think it's so important to take a fair and careful approach to tackling topics like this the way she did. She said a few times that she is not going to speak on whether she believes Trish has this disorder or does not, whether she's faking it or is not, because she is not qualified to determine that for her, nor is it her business.
I'm not going to spend any of this video saying whether I think she does or doesn't, because I don't know. I'm not a professional. It is not my place to say whether she is faking or not faking. And frankly, it's none of my business.
And I think that is exactly the approach we should be taking. And I think that's exactly what I was getting at with my last video on this topic. I am not in any way pretending to be an arbiter of people's diagnoses or what these disorders look like or how they display themselves. But of course, she said it better than I could and is more qualified to place that standard around how we talk about this disorder. But I do believe when talking about anything, especially something kind of controversial or something that is polarizing or misrepresented, I think it's important to be fair and careful and poised and tactful, because that allows us to view you as an objective party. And when you present information in an objective way, it is a lot easier for the audience to accept all of the information you're providing without putting any of their own personal biases on how they receive that information. Again, that's really what I wanted to get across with my last video, but she did a great job here getting that point across. I think how she handled Trisha's claims was damn near perfect and really encapsulated how we should all approach mental health topics when they come up. That said, I can no longer support Trisha Paytas. I've kind of kept her in this limbo state, not sure how I feel about her. Sometimes I like the girl, sometimes she really frustrates me. At this point, I feel that I am done talking about her. For now, at least. Of course, I'll still be responding to comments in this video and those in my last video. But after this, I just can't take anything that she says or does seriously enough to care, quite frankly. A lot of times my subscribers will ask what I think about certain controversial YouTubers, and I have nothing to say, because when you get to the point where there is seemingly no validity in your words and your actions, what can I say? Don't do that. That's bad. That's all I have to say at this point. Trish, don't do that. That's bad. If you really think that you're struggling with something legitimate, which I'm not denying that you might be, go get that help. For anybody who might be in her situation and cannot get help, go educate yourself. Particularly when it comes to DID, go watch DissociaDID's video. And others like that. I will link her video in the description, and educate yourself. We live in an age where we have endless information at our fingertips, so utilize that. But if you are somebody in a place of privilege like Trisha Paytas, go get help. What you're doing is not helping, it's hurting. It is nobody's place to say whether you do have this disorder or don't have this disorder, but it is on you to take care of it and to make sure that you're not spreading misinformation and lies, to make sure that what you do put out is not making a mockery of a community. So I may have something to say if she addresses this, if I care at that point, but it's clear that I'm very turned off from her content, this situation altogether. At this point, I sure hope it doesn't feel like I'm backtracking on anything I said before. I still maintain what I said before. It's just that when I am using Trisha Paytas as my subject while getting this point across, and then she goes and does what she did last night, that is embarrassing. I think it looks bad on people like me that used her as an example for how sensitive we should be. So while keeping in mind that I maintain the points that I made in that video, I do apologize to anyone that may have been hurt by me seemingly siding with Trish in any way. That wasn't my intention. I actually, on my channel, tend to be more compassionate towards the creators that I don't like as much, and I tend to hold accountable a little bit more those that I do, or those that I identify more with. But when all is said and done, after what happened last night, I am disgusted and I am disappointed. And while I wish her the best and I hope for comfort and good health and recovery for her, I am done with Trisha Paytas for the foreseeable future. So, please let me know what you think in the comments. The comments in my last video is kind of a stressful place. I'd like to know if your opinions have changed at all since this most recent video. In particular, I'd like to know if anyone's feeling the way I am, which is kind of betrayed, honestly. So, to the one person who is watching this video, is not me, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for hearing me out. I do want to know what you think. So if you wouldn't mind dropping me a comment, I will see you guys down there. Bye.